Boo Show again, and today I'm going to show you how to replace a broken lock actuator on your vehicle. Here's what a bad lock actuator sounds like. And you can isolate which door it is quite easily by sound. You could also put your hand on the door and feel for the vibrations when it's making that noise. First thing I like to do is if the dome light is on when the door's open, shut it off so you don't drain the battery while you're working. Start off by removing the inner handle. Open this screw cap here. Oh. Sometimes they get a little brittle and break off. No big deal. I have a replacement. Remove the screw. Now you just don't want to pull back. That'll damage the handle. There's a series of hooks that retain it to the door panel. So what you want to do is take it, push it off to the left, and you can pull it forward. Over here you'll see the rod. So just take this plastic clip and push it back. Carefully with a screwdriver, you don't want to break it. Then you could pop the rod up and out. Now you're just left with two electrical connectors. Squeeze the clips, pull them out. And here you'll see those hooks that I was referring to earlier. If you were to just pull back on this and try to yank it out, you'll break these clips off and damage the inner handle. Since I'm replacing that broken screw cap, I'm going to remove the remnants of it. There's a back piece here. You can see it's right there. I'm just going to pull it out with a screwdriver. Now there's one final screw right here under this cap. You'll notice there's a flat side to the cap and a rounded side. The flat side is where the hinge is, so you want to pry up on the opposite side. There's the screw. Just pull up the cap and also remove the screw. There's a trim clip here in the corner. You don't need to pry it out with a screwdriver. What you can do is just get your finger underneath the panel and pull back on it. And you can easily remove it. Now we can pull off the door panel. It's pretty easy, but what you have to remember is to remove this electrical connector from the courtesy light after the panel has been pulled away from the door. So you can pick anywhere. I like to pick here by the window track because I can get my finger under there and just pull back to release the clips. It'll take a little bit of force. That. Now you'll notice you won't be able to pull the panel all the way forward because of the courtesy light connector here. You can see the wiring's taut. There's a tab on the other side right here, so just squeeze down on that tab and pull the connector right out. You also want to remove this trim panel for the mirror. It's held in by one clip, so just pull it forward to remove it. See, there's the clip. There's just a little hook holding it down there, so you just want to pull it forward, up and out. Now you can remove the panel. You just want to pull it forward and lift it up off the top of the door, like this. Now that it's off, inspect all the trim clips. You see they fit into a channel here. They can easily slide out. Make sure they're all pushed up in the proper position, because sometimes they can get stuck in the door or they can partially pop up, which will make it difficult to reinstall the panel later. So make sure they're all pushed down opposite where that little channel is. Now this is your vapor barrier. You don't want to cut this up or tear it up. The door actuator is in this area because this is where our latch is, and the actuator is bolted onto that. So we just want to take up this area here. So just pull it very carefully away from the adhesive. Again, I'm doing this very slowly so I don't tear the plastic. See, the old adhesive is kind of crumbling. It's almost snot-like, so I should wear some gloves. The connector for the actuator is right over here. Rather than, again, what I want to avoid is cutting into this vapor barrier. So in order to peel it back, I'm going to have to remove this handle bracket here. So there are 3 screws, 1, 2, 3. I'm also going to remove this clip right here. And right there is my connector for the lock actuator. This is for the key switch, which unlocks all the doors. So this 2-pin connector is the one I'm after. Squeeze the tab, pull it out. There's a clip here that holds the wire. Just want to squeeze it from behind. Remove it. You can see there are 2 tabs here. Just squeeze those tabs. Remove it. Be very conscious of how this cable is routed, because obviously the window comes down, and if you don't route it properly, the window could pinch it. There's a second clip right here. Squeeze those 2 tabs. Pull that out. Now in order to get the actuator out, you have to loosen the window track, which runs down this way. It's held in by 1 fastener, 10 millimeter. You don't have to remove it. You just have to remove this fastener. With that fastener out, you can just take the track, pull it down, because it hooks into a little channel up here. Then you can actually pull it forward just far enough, see, like that, to get the actuator out. Now the hole you want to access the actuator through is this one right here. If I go in there and look to the right, you could clearly see the actuator. That's this plastic piece right here. There are 3 screws holding it on. Over here, you'll see those 3 fasteners in an L shape. 1, 2, 3. You want to remove those, and then you can easily remove the actuator from the latch. I'm putting my hand on there and removing it just so I don't drop it in the door. All those screws are the same length, so there's no need to worry about where they go. Now you can take the actuator, pull it back and down, and remove it from the door. The wire is getting in the way here. There we go. And it's here's our replacement actuator. There's one thing you have to realize when you install it. You'll see there's a white piece of plastic here, and there's a hole. There's a matching pin on the latch. You have to make sure that that pin goes into this hole here. Otherwise, the actuator won't lock and unlock the latch. In many cases, you don't have to replace the actuator to fix this issue, but you'll still have to remove it if you choose to repair it. Check out my actuator repair video for details. Now, you see that pin there? That's what you want to get the hole on the lock actuator into. You can see it moves back and forth when I lock and unlock the door. So once you have the actuator in there, just lightly tug down on it, and if you can't pull it back down, that means that that pin is in the proper hole. Insert the L piece right over there, up behind this piece of plastic here, pull towards you, and hear that click? That's the pin engaging the actuator. Before putting the screws back in, make sure the tip of your screwdriver is magnetized. They make inexpensive tools to do this. This will give you a clearer view to guide the screws back in. Careful not to cross thread. It's one of those situations where you can't put them in by hand. You just have to feel the screws through your screwdriver. If it feels too difficult to turn, you're cross threading. It's a bit off center. I'm just going to move it. There we go. Just felt the screw fall in. That's two. Now that all the screws are in, you can fully tighten them. One thing to be aware of when installing the actuator, you'll notice there's a wire here that goes to the cylinder on the passenger side door. You want it to be running behind the actuator and not in front of it. You'll notice it comes behind the actuator here, comes out from under the actuator here. You see there's plenty of space. I decided to reroute the wire for the cylinder switch behind the actuator instead of in front of it. Technically, this is the way the service manual says it should have been routed. The original routing was fine, but with behind the actuator, there's one less obstacle when trying to get the screws back in. Now remember what I said before, the routing of this wire is very important. You'll see that the little clips are pre-installed right where we need them. So now if you remember, when we disassembled it, that the wire comes off the actuator and goes around the window channel like this, that when you bolt it down you see it's just like this. Then this clip simply clips here from behind. Then this wire goes up and over here and under this wire here. Like that. Then this clip goes into this hole here, and the connector goes right here. Now before we put the panel back on, let's test the actuator. Just use the switch on the other side. And it works. If the door doesn't lock and unlock, that means that that pin on the latch is not in the hole on the actuator, so you're going to have to remove the actuator and try again. Now that we're sure that the actuator works, we can reinstall the window channel here. As you can see at the top of the window there, you can see that channel that it sits in, a piece of metal right there. So what you want to do is you want to push this piece of metal all the way up until the bolt hole at the bottom of the door aligns. So I'm just going to push it up. We go push, like that. You can see here, fastener hole. I've gone a little too far, so I'm just going to pull it a little bit further down. And there's the bolt hole. Now look in here, make sure that the window seal is pushed in the channel evenly, all the way down. Make sure it's not popped out or bunched up anywhere. And just to be safe, I'm going to bring the window down to make sure it operates properly. In order to do that, you're going to have to reconnect the window switch on the passenger side. You can't even activate it from the driver's side if the passenger switch isn't connected. It has to do with the way the circuit's wired. And the window goes down smoothly. And goes up smoothly. Before I put the vapor barrier back on, you'll notice that this is the rod that unlocks your door. You'll notice it goes into a plastic clip right here. Now when you're reinstalling this rod back in to the inner handle, you're going to have to pull it forward a little bit. But you want to make sure that you don't pull it so forward that you pop it out of this clip here. If you do pop it out of this clip, you could reach behind the panel and just push here and snap it back in. But again, pull forward just far enough to put it into the latch, but not so far forward that you pop it out of this clip. Now I'm going to re-adhere the vapor barrier to the door. Most of the time this adhesive is pretty dried up, so it won't re-adhere. There's a number of ways to deal with this. What you can do if you don't have what I'm about to show you is just a few dabs of the gel type super glue, like a few dots here and there, and that'll just adhere it well enough to get the inner panel back on. What I'm going to do is I'm going to use the specifically manufactured adhesive made by Honda. This is what you get when you order the adhesive for this door from Honda. This is the manufacturer, and that's the part and batch number. So all you have to do is just put a little bead around where the vapor barrier has to be adhered. Looks good to me. Make sure that the rod here goes through the little slit. Just press it to the door. Now when pressing this barrier back in, you notice there's numerous holes here for the pins. Just make sure that those are aligned. Makes it easier when you're reinstalling the door panel later, so you don't have to punch new holes into the vapor barrier. So just align it with the hole first, and then just guide it into place. over, and there you go. Line up the hole, the vapor barrier with the hole in the door. Now that the vapor barrier is back in place, don't forget to put this plastic clip back in. Now what I like to do, because it makes reinstallation of the panel easier, is to lower the window. The reason for that is you want to hang the top of the panel right here first, and that's more difficult with the window up. Slide the panel on like this. Make sure you guide the lock rod through the hole there, and it should sit on there like that. When I reach in there, grab the wires for the window and door locks. And don't forget to reconnect the courtesy light connector. You want this tab here facing this way. Now reattaching the panel is super simple. What you want to do is just look for one of the trim clips to fall into its hole, then just tap the panel in place. And once one trim clip's in, pretty much all of them will align. So just go around, tapping the panel back in. Pop your little clip in the corner here in. And reinstall the little trim piece for the mirror here. You want to hook this in behind the panel and then snap this in here to this hole here. Now you can reinstall the inner handle, reconnect the power window switch, and the door lock switch. Now you want to reinstall the rod here into the handle. Push it in like that, and push this clip around until it clips in there. Like that. Then slide the entire assembly to the left, and then press in so that those clips go into the hole in the door, then slide to the right. And that's pretty much it. I'm just going to install this replacement screw cap. You'll see there's two tabs on one side. That goes into this area here, like this. And just pop the final screw into the handle. First, check out the inner handle. That works. Test the locks. Test the switch on this side. Window. And we're good.